Hey everybody, we're going to do a walkthrough of our Justin and my Satisfactory base. So I'm just going to actually kind of fly around and show everything off. So I'm standing in the hub, which is the second hub we made that's kind of fancy. So we have the glass ceilings, got the nice polished floors, we got all of our science and construction stuff here, and of course the hub itself. Very homey. And if I go out here, this is what ended up being the main warehouse base of the entire project. So pretty much everything ultimately gets shipped back here. This is a train station underneath that runs everything out into these filtering mechanisms. Uploads it or lifts it up here into this long sort of main warehouse structure here at the top. These are all storage areas, and then these are all filters. So I can basically have the front three cargo stations are for specific freight, and everything the back is for components that automatically get filtered down this long line of filters by component into different crates and stuff like that. Now this is all a lot of volume, so we ended up supplementing that with all of these big storage things out here. So you can kind of see we have quite a few giant storage stacks out here. Each of these storage stacks has something different in it. These are all the products of the different factories scattered around our world. We have up here a drone port coming in, delivering some of those. We've got a second train station here, which is just for nitrogen gas that we're shipping in from somewhere else. We're using a lot of our production stuff. You can see one of our drones coming in right there. Over here, we got some water we're extracting, which we use in our construction processes, and then coming back in here, we're entering the main area of the factory. So this is sort of multiple levels of factory. We've got our original cable factories and stuff down there. We've got a lot of components, concrete, encased industrial beams, cooling systems that use the water there. We've got another drone port that we use to send electromagnetic rods out to the nuclear area so we can keep everything powered. If any of you have played this before, you can see we're using about 22,000, between 20 and 23,000 actually right now. And the main reason that those still work is because Justin has made just a ton of nuclear plants getting horribly irradiated in the process. So here's all the rest of our factories. We've got some mines. These are all computer factories feeding into this supercomputer thing, which kind of feeds everything. Coming up here, these are kind of our final component factories. A lot of these are no longer need to be in use anymore. So I've got power switches like that that allow you to just turn off an entire factory as needed. These kind of pipe in closer and closer to the space elevator here with more and more advanced components. And then in the space elevator area, we have these particle accelerators that were originally used to make nuclear pasta, which are off now because, as you can see, we're done with that. We've got this alien power augmenter here. We've got a sink that we're dropping extra stuff into as we need it, and then we've got the sort of component areas, leftover components from previous phases, which have already been pillaged to produce some of the components for this final phase here. So you can see we've got like assembly director systems, stuff like that. All right, coming over here, we have actually the location where we first started. So this was the location of the hub. You can see one of our previous player characters is idle right there. This is where the hub was at the very beginning of the game, when this was all just a beautiful grassy plain with animals frolicking around. You can see our original science and crafting setup here with all the hyper tubes from when we still use those quite a bit. This up here is our first train station, which now is just a drop-off point on the way down to the main warehouse. These are some of our earlier factories. And then out here is the steel yard that Justin put together. This produces a lot of our steel components, especially in the early game. But it still produces, I think, like, what do you think, like half of our steel plates and stuff? Steel beams?
Yeah, about there. I'm actually getting another one online right now.
Yeah.
Because we just keep running out of it. But
Yeah, so this pretty much
and there's
stretches...
a whole bunch of iron and coal here.
Bunch of iron coal, nice. This pretty much stretches all the way out to the edge of the map. You can see out there we've got some extra smelters and stuff. That's producing something called deuterium, which we're using to sort of power these alien technologies, turning that into the final thing of the game, which is called Fixite. There's the edge of the map right there. You can see it's just like standing on the edge of the world. Over there we got some extra mines and stuff, and then you can see way out there in the distance is there are other deuterium mine that just set up towards the beginning of the game. For reference, this is the map. The map is about this big, so we've explored probably 2/3 of it, maybe 60%. Everything I just showed is just in this area here. It's actually a pretty small area of the map. Unlike a lot of people, we didn't expand out like crazy. We've got some outposts out in the world, but we haven't done too much to really build out elsewhere, except for a couple examples, which I'll show you in a second. Alright, so there's the space elevator. That thing lifts up all of the things we're trying to build out there. You can see here, this is some of our new stuff. So we've got an alien substance mine out there, which pipes this alien substance back here and uses it to power the matter converters that power the kind of final stage of the game, which is this stuff here. All of these are sort of end-game alien power constructors and particle accelerators that build the final components of the game. The objectives you can see in the upper right-hand corner there, which are once we finish those, which will be in about an hour, we'll be done. So flying down here through what were our original iron mines. They used to be obviously in open air. Now they're sort of completely in the shadow because we've built all this stuff over the top of them. This is one of Justin's magical launchers. We're going to fly through this and see some of the other stuff in the game. So. That's not a thing you're technically, I think, supposed to be able to make, but it lets you travel really far. So that's another train station and mining situation that just exists to mine one single kind of material. And this loading in here below me is our oil plant, which was our sort of, give me a second, die here. This was our sort of second main power location. After our initial couple of small power plants, this runs a lot of the power, and it turns oil into plastic, which we use to make all of our computer components and stuff. So you can see this whole area is pretty built up. This train station connects to the warehouse train station I showed you before. The trip takes about 3 minutes, I think, to get from here to there. So you can see I am in the map here, and goes down to here. Justin uses the color stuff a lot more than I do, so we've kind of color-coded this. So we've got different generators here, all kinds of different factories and stuff. This is pretty big plant area, so it's pretty imposing. And then you can see some of the stuff like this I built on top of it. This is just a little weapons plant that produces weapons that we can use when we're out exploring the world. This over here is our second aluminum plant, so this produces more advanced metals and stuff like that. We're piping everything down these long conveyor belts from somewhere up in the cliffs up there. And then there's a couple other places which I'll show you before we wrap up this video. So this is about 120 hours in for me. Justin, I'm guessing pretty close, not quite as much for you.
Probably a little bit less. can't just tell because I've played this game before.
Yeah, that makes sense. So in that time, we've managed to create quite the infrastructure, although not even close to what some crazy people on the internet. So I am now above the copper mine area that I flew over previously. This tube goes down there. This tube launches back to the space elevator. And this tube over here launches out into the frontier, which I might do. Those are kind of base off in the distance. So let's see which way this goes. I'm going to try it. Okay, so you can see up here, that is our first aluminum mining facility. I'm going to actually fly out here. This is a little diamond outpost that mines diamonds that we use for a bunch of stuff. You can see kind of the rest of the map here as I'm flying in here. And you can see here our biggest diamond facility. This takes all the coal that is found in this particular location and it turns it into diamonds, although it's turned off right now because we have as much diamonds as we need. Tempted to actually try to just drive a little bit away. Get down to the nuclear stuff. Let's drive a little bit.
That is nighttime.
Yeah, I know.
Time that one right.
Yeah. So you can kind of drive around and explore stuff out here. Which is pretty cool to be able to do that. See, there's some craters and stuff out here. You can kind of see out here, kind of the way that they've actually set up the world. It's actually quite pretty and nice before you start destroying it with all of your stuff. And that's sort of part of the fun, is taking something that they've put so much love into and just paving it over. There's a creature right there, which I'm just going to ignore because they're kind of a pain in the ass. I'm going to come back here, take the shot back, and then hit the nuclear plant and call it a Sometimes if you don't run into that fast enough, you just shoot straight up in the air, but you can kind of see the world out here. That's the extent of it. Right over there is like the end of the world, basically, in that direction. So it's very detailed, not crazy big, like square mile wise, but in terms of buildable area, it's plenty. All the stuff out here is things you can kind of find and explore that kind of help you. You've got crashed spaceships that you can get stuff out of, like that one there. The sun is coming back up. It's nice. Or is that the moon? Can't actually tell.
I think it's morning.
So you can see this is kind of how we get around these days, is by all these tubes that we have placed on the map. Just let us fly super long distances, kind of pick out. So this down here is our copper production area. It is these kind of bottomless holes in the ground. This is another stop on our train, and over there's the nuclear, which is where I'm going to go here in a second. So here you can see I'm coming back into our main warehouse area, main factory area. Pretty spaghetti-like at this point, frankly. And we're going to take the final jump out to the nuclear. Am I going to get horribly irradiated out here, Justin?
Yeah, you probably will. The whole entire compound now is just...
Okay. Well, I'm going to probably die here when I land, but here we go. So that stuff out
get
here...
about 10 seconds.
Okay, nice. I'll try to fly a little first. So you can kind of see out here, there's all this other, like the desert and shit like that, which we just didn't really get around to exploring. Very cool, very, very cool level design. I'm a huge fan of their level design. And I'm a little bit sad that you just exist to destroy it, but it's also kind of the entire point of the game, is literally that, which I find respectable. Alright, so the car near here, I'm gonna drive through Chernobyl over here. Do you know if the vehicles protect you from radiation, Justin?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe they do.
Over here, you can see the start of Justin's highly radioactive nuclear plant. Let's see what happens if I jump out of here. You can see the radiation level there. I've got a couple of these filters in my hazmat suit, so it's not too bad yet, but I'm guessing once I get close to the actual nuclear power plants, that's going to change. Here I am in sort of the underbelly, driving through the underbelly of the nuclear plant. There's a lot of this kind of stuff underneath our world where there's just sort of conduits going through. Big, flat foundations where we build all of our sort of supplies and stuff. So, this is probably where I'm going to die here. Here's some of our nuclear plants. Haven't been over here in a while. Pretty brutal. You can see my plant down there, my filters down there in the lower left, slowly counting down. These are all the sort of nuclear prep facilities. We've got different fluids coming in here. We've got uranium coming in from the uranium mine over there, and then Justin's got this nicely colored drone landing area, which is pretty cool. You can see it from space. Alright, is there a launch pad back? Yeah, here it is.
Yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to fly back out of the radiation. These are some crystal mines, stuff like that, that we use for different materials. This is our crazy long bridge up to the aluminum plant. You can see the nitrogen train here coming in. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All this stuff kind of connects using pipes and conveyors and things like that. It all gets plugged in together in order to build pretty much everything in the game, which happens just in a construction tree where so you combine X number of ingredients in a given machine that takes power, and you just combine and combine and combine until you reach the final things in the game, and then you upload those final things into this space element. So basically, if I fly up as high as I can, you can kind of see how all of these different factories, and all of this train tracks and this long track here, all of this sort of funnels everything back to here, which constructs the final components and then loads them into the space elevator, which we then shoot into space to build this giant structure that you see floating up in the sky there. Yeah, so that's it. This is our giant blueprint constructor where we can sort of make, you see there's a lot of these designs here. We have like 4 of these machines and this crazy octopus thing. This basically lets me feed stuff into one set of inputs and then distributes it into 4 things. You design that in this blueprint maker, and then you can kind of copy paste that wherever you want to. So a lot of these factories use these similar repeating patterns. Yeah, so that's it. We'll go back into the home base here. We can put on some different music. And yeah, that's the end of the tour. Hope you enjoyed it.